can do it very, very easily. However, you also have to account for the Shen ultimate going up towards topside. So that's possibly going to help out in that situation as well. So I like the look of this Impunity draft. They have tools to deal with PSG, but can they execute? That's always the question when it comes to these perhaps less firepower teams against these big ticket names on PSG.
And taking a look at the runes, we have a more aggressive setup coming in from Faith. Not going to go for the phase rush, just going to go for Airy, even more damage there. And just a little bit of a poke in.
Ignite top lane, baby.
Yep. He's trying to go for the early kills. I expect a lot of suppression, but it's still very hard for Graves, I think, finish off Tryndamere in the end. So we'll see how this actually works out.
Yeah, this is a really interesting when it comes to the summoners chosen, right? Because Quiet went for the Ignite, but Hanabi went for a teleport. Usually you see Flash and Ghost. But Hanabi has kind of split the difference and dropped the Flash in this case and just gone for Ghost. I think that's a mistake here because if he doesn't have Flash, it's very difficult for him to bypass something like a Shen and get past the CC tools and disengage tools of a Ziggs and a Syndra. So we'll need to see how that actually plays out in these team fights, but first impressions, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting type of build right here because it just means he doesn't have the same kill threat, even in his own lane. I'm not even talking about team fights, but even against the Graves, he pretty much has given up the potential of killing him here, instead just trying to go for farm. So maybe we're going to see another hull breaker first item Tryndamere, as we have seen earlier on. Just use that TP to kind of accelerate your chances at getting that item, as we do have very extensive early level trading coming out for Alex level 2, and they will get the kill right off the bat. This is why you play Shen support. The level 1 taunt does grant you a I believe it's a 1.4 second stun and a little bit of a walk back too, so a great amount of crowd control to find that first blood.
Yeah, it's not only that taunt landing, but it's also the insta skill into that satchel charge, which secures that kill. Absolutely fantastic start for Impunity in this bottom lane. And it's really wild to see that 2v2 kill come out because Unified was probably the premier Ziggs player in our league last split. So very, very surprised to see them make the mistake of getting caught out like that.
Yeah, it was just a surprise level 2, which I'm kind of, again, surprised by that Kaiwing would put himself in a position to be just cracked down like that. Prolix does have full vision on Bay, but Bay will walk out just okay. We can see the dominance being asserted by this Shen pick here. Never thought I'd be saying these words in week 1 of the PCS.
Yeah, and the key point there is that they're able to hold that wave for Faith, so the wave is... he's going to get a lot more out of this lane position, right? And it is going to be Juhan making his way up into this top side. They know it's a Flash or Flash Ignite top laner, so if they burn Flash early on, force him to recall, that will be a lot of space given towards Hanabi.
And Kaiwing just scouting out his own Krugs, realizes that Lee Sin is around the corner here. And we could have a potential for repeat ganks into the bot lane. Nautilus being very exposed in this area, so I expect PSG to have to play relatively safe now in this area. Meanwhile, shifting over to Bay's lane, I think Bay has been sort of the really quiet member of PSG. Even in their wins, I feel like, you know, it was really the difference maker didn't come from the mid lane much at all. So I really want to see how far Bay can push his mechanics and how he can showcase what talents he can showcase. For now, it does seem like he has some good roaming opportunities towards the top lane.
Yeah, all eyes are going to be on this top lane for PSG. They have the tools to make the roam happen, and it's also, again, an Ignite Graves. So he's very, very susceptible to just get camped. However, one of the big other things is the fact that Blaze did use his flash to execute that first blood. So if there's an opportunity, expect Juhan to really take advantage of that missing summoner and try and swing things back in favor of his bottom lane duo.
Kind of interesting map movements here as we see both supports poke up their heads up towards the top lane. And right now, even though it's a teleport on Hanabi, he has taken a pretty sizable CS lead, about 1 wave in the lead right now. So he's hanging very comfortable, isn't threatened by the Ignite whatsoever. And PSG has gotten a little bit more CS onto the Xin Zhao. But in the meantime, Impunity now, sensing that Bey has just teleported back, gonna take that opportunity to just chow down on this Ocean Drake. So a lot of trades happening, and I don't think anyone expected this, but Impunity is sailing through the early game completely okay, and even with the lead.
A little bit concerned that Quiet was going to try and walk deep into the jungle for no reason, but just hits that vision plant and leaves. So Quiet, not too much happening up there, which is great. Again,
exactly. Quiet is what he wants, and I don't think he would have done anything with Lee Sin on the bottom side of the map. I'd be very, very surprised if he decided to go up there to that.
We've seen more curious things when jungler does show on the map.
That is true. I have to give you that. PCS is a very fun region because of certain reasons here, as we have another Growlix thrown onto the top lane. He's not even waiting for Stand United. He's just going full on, and you know, he is skilling into that Shadow Taunt just to get the extra crowd control duration as well. So essentially this is a river, Shen, as now we have the nearsighted Hanabi chasing down Quiet, no mana on Quiet anymore, and Hanabi sitting at a very comfortable health total. This might prompt some more support to come towards the top side, as Bey now clearing a path towards that top lane, and Kralix trying to catch him out in the act. But vision superiority to PSG, as they, I believe they do spot out Taco as well, so very safe for Tryndamere to just play a solo game up there.
Right, but for the side of Impunity, they also play this really well because what are the objectives up available? Well, there's no dragon, so you can afford to just give up sort of your bot lane pressure. Take this Shen and move it up into this top side to secure the safety of your top laner. You have Ziggs in that bottom lane who can wave clear very, very well in a 1v2 situation. He also has a Lost Chapter, so you're not starved for mana in this situation. I love the adaptation coming out from Impunity, and it's going to help them consolidate this 600 gold lead from just that first blood. So while nothing's really opened up, this was really one of the concerns we did have for PSG. If they take things too slow, which is what it feels like they're changing their identity to, will they be able to grind out these games consistently?
Yeah, they had a very different look in 2021. Well, they were trying to 3-man roam across the map. They were tower diving constantly. This time around, we were getting a much slower, much more measured PSG, and it could come back to haunt them. However, I will say, like, Lee Sin and Syndra, you know, not really known as a late game combo, so they still have to get some things done before, in my eyes, this Graves and Syndra are likely going to fall off into the late game, especially against, like, 1-3-1 powerhouses that Tryndamere and Ryze can provide.
Yeah, I actually expected them to just go for some sort of big play onto Bey with the level 6 on Lee Sin. Just force the play, try and get the either the deletion or summoners, as looks like they're fishing for right now. But Bey positioning himself in the lane very intelligently, knowing that his team is playing towards top side. They also just saw Taco on the Raptor camp as they were contesting him, so the only path for him to appear in mid lane is through that bottom side of the river.
That's going to be a full tower in the top side. And bot lane for Impunity isn't pushing either, so they have no response. This is just completely free for PSG. Unfortunately, I feel like Impunity were I think they
dropped the
roamed
ball.
Crowlix too much and didn't get anything for it.
Yeah, they roamed him too much, and now they're trying to recoup some of the EXP to try and get him to level 6. Unfortunately, because of that, they sacrificed so much of the map in this particular instance. So PSG grabbed the Herald and immediately looked to use it. Great job from them taking advantage of just a bit of a lull from Impunity's map movements.
Yeah, we could be seeing the makings of a stride breaker coming out from the side of Tryndamere. Could help him catch up to the Graves a little bit. And just looking at the map overall, it seems like Impunity are running out of places to actually start their offense. They haven't been successful with this Lee Sin and Syndra combination, and we also haven't seen aggressive Stand United. This could be it, as Quiet does start to bully out Hanabi.
He knows.
Yeah, he's going to be very, very safe in this situation. Doesn't even save for any auto attacks. On the flip side, PSG just got a free Drake, so well played, Hanabi. That's exactly what we expect out of a weak side top laner.
And the nice part is, he's... Oh, can he get the blue buff? No. But the nice part is he gets himself a Cloud Dragon, which is really, really valuable on Tryndamere, where you're not adding more points into your ult, so getting that additional ult cooldown is actually really, really nice. And now he's going to come under siege, and I mean, he's still Tryndamere.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to kill. Doesn't even pop the Undying Rage for this one. Faith will show himself over the wall, but he gets turned onto as the next target. Has to flash out. Good reflexes there, but overall not really worth it for a roam. Impunity, once again, I feel like their offense is being stifled while PSG are gaining on the bottom side.
Yeah, now PSG have an advantage. Most of that is going to come from the fact that they were able to get that first brick along with all the plates up in this top side. And now they'll also be able to answer in this bottom lane. The moment it becomes a 1v1 in this bottom lane, Unified... I mean, there was that blunder in the lane phase, but now I'm pretty sure Unified knows this matchup very, very well. So he knows that he can just delete this Ziggs pick at this moment when it comes to not being able to generate any space for the Ziggs. He can just run at him.
Oh man, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I was thinking about building a mythic and going, doing normal things on Tryndamere, but of course it's Hullbreaker. What am I talking about? It's the League of Hullbreaker. Everyone's building Hullbreaker now. Tanks are building Hullbreaker. It's just the most cost-efficient item in the game. So, I think PSG are very clearly setting themselves up for that 1-3-1 route. They can play this game in multiple fashions, drag it out. They have the scaling advantage. And it is up to Impunity to do something. They have to go. They have to go sooner rather than later. And I haven't seen a play from Stand United being synced up with the rest of the team well enough to warrant that. Maybe this is the play as they go in, but they don't have crowd control as Riot, unable to stop Bay from just walking out with the Realm Warp.
Yeah, no CC on the Graves means that if the Stand United doesn't come in fast enough, the taunt's not going to be able to get there to stop Bay's exits. And well done from Bay. I mean, at this rate, imagine this. Instead of Thimblewinter and Frozen Heart, just go Hullbreaker. Hullbreaker.
Oh, no,
I'm pretty sure you can't build it on Rise. But, I mean, this champion is so bad with his current tank build. You could build anything, and I mean, it probably wouldn't look that bad.
I just want to reiterate what we mean by bad. What we really mean is that Rise is a much more situational character. Like, you really need the right setup for him.
You can't just blind pick him.
We'll touch on that a little bit later as Hanabi is now getting chased down. Can they find the Dragon's Rage to bring him back? No, that was such a short W! Oh no! Taco! What's been happening in this game over and over again is Impunity tries to do a catch, they fail, and PSG gets gifted free stuff on the other side of the map. It's been a free tower, it's been a free Herald, and it's been a free Drake. And this is so smart by PSG. They're playing Super slow, super measured, super unlike 2021 PSG, but it's working because Impunity just can't close the deal on any of these ganks.
Yeah, and a lot of their catch potentials very hard, right? Because its skill shot is relatively low range, so it's relatively predictable unless if Impunity expend a flash to try and force the play. But then you're spending a flash, so a lot of resources have to be used from the Impunity side to try and force a play.
Yeah, but this is just really so painful to watch because it feels like a slow suffocation game, and it's only 15 minutes. the amount of towers that have been taken in this game is quite staggering for the side of PSG, and it's not through combat. You know, this is kind of the perfect Monte Cristo game where it's just like, oh, no blood has been shed, yet we are winning. That is a good day for Monte.
We bring up Jat, and now we've brought up Monte Cristo. Time to deep dive into the history of League of Legends casters. Oh wait, we have a living one right with us, Clement Chu.
Yeah, I've been around for a very long time. I can't believe I'm still alive deep down inside, but PSG are setting up this big Drake. This could be potentially very dangerous for them. Impunity, this is your way back into the game. I want to see a big burst of damage straight into the backline, take down Bay, take down Unified, and get back into killing habits. Unfortunately, it seems like it's not going to happen just yet. Impunity on the objective first, but PSG are still going to try and fight this one. Juhan going in. Alex is kind of sectioned off into the backline. We see Blaze actually the first one to die. Unified will follow soon, but Hanabi has been basically untouched in this fight. He has free reign to just chase down these targets one by one. Paltry Shout goes through. Quiet has been slowed, and he is no match for the Raging Barbarian as Undying Rage is used. Quiet has to walk to the enemy side of the map, and Trinamir just goes back to split pushing. Oh, Hullbreaker is so amazing.
I love Hanabi's reaction to the flash. He sees the flash and instantly like, I don't care. I've got minions. I have a date with some minions up into that top side later, but we get to see the replay, and it's just really disoriented fight lines coming in from Impunity. They don't have any protection for that Ziggs. Ziggs instantly gets collapsed upon, and after that, that's a lot of their damage right now, just because the Syndra hasn't gotten ahead. And Quiet, I mean, he has Ignite, and while it's fine that he's moving his way over, he doesn't exactly have the build to really get maximum value out of this Graves pick. He's low range, and even though they are low range on the flip side, like, you just want that lethality to burst through as much of those health bars to help set up for the rest of your squad.
You know, we talked about the theory of Impunity's team fighting is you land Scatter the Weak, you throw in the Mega Inferno Bomb, and you throw in Graves Ultimate. It should instantly delete Aphelios, but I want to give credit to Juhan. Like, that Crescent Guard was just so critical in that moment. It really broke apart Lee Sin and Syndra combo, and they ended up trading front lines, which, if you think about the situation, that's a win for PSG. Their front line has Tryndamere and Ryze, and your front line doesn't have crowd control, so that was no, I think in theory that could have gone a lot better for Impunity, but unfortunately the execution and just the power of the Xin Zhao shaping the formation in these team fights was so critical in that instance, you know. And yeah, it's I feel like once again, you know, this is the time where we sort of grill our colors for potential outs for the losing team. It's like, well, it seems it's like rough. Yeah, it seems like this is past their expiration date.
I mean, at the same time, they were able to get second dragon, so true. I think I think Impunity did. So they at least have 2 dragons to their name. If this game does drag on and PSG don't find the killing blow fast enough, or aren't able to win the next couple of dragons, that could be a way in for Impunity to make up the gold difference, because you are getting that damage amplification, and that is gold value that can make up that 6k gold lead. But it is still a 6k gold lead as it stands, which is quite a bit at 18 minutes.
Yeah, this game feels like it's gone on forever because of all the map trades that have been happening, but surprise, it's less than 20 minutes into the game. Just a very masterful example here being showcased by PSG on how to play a macro game and how to use your weak sides in coordination with your strong sides taking objectives. This was really a beautiful game to watch. You know, not in the LPL sense, but more in the LCK kind of line. As Quiet tries to set up something for Bay, I'm not even sure he wins this though. Bay does show some proper respect and back out as once again they are taking away resources from Impunity's side of the map.
Yeah, and I mean, Bay showing respect to the Shen ultimate still. And while he didn't have the Shen ult at that moment, I'm not sure if a lot of people have the Shen ult memorized, at least in this point. Usually when he becomes more meta, you always have the timers of those ultimates down. But when he kind of falls away, sometimes you end up forgetting those kind of cooldown timers. So I like the fact that he is respecting that fact.
Nabi isn't respecting anything. He's just going straight for it and then forcing out abilities here, as he is strong enough to do so at this point. Even though he doesn't have any kills or assists to his name, that bounty gold does mean that he has a sizable lead with all the tower pushing that he has been doing this game. And now we see PSG transitioning over towards the Baron. This is a critical moment in the game where I feel like Impunity, you know, for them, it also means that they could find a potential comeback teamfight win. As Kralix try to scout out the situation, can't really go in, and lots of pings being shown across the board. PSG just waiting for someone to come a little bit closer, or waiting for multiple members to have to deal with the Trinity.
Now we get to see the gold graph. I mean, pretty impressive gold graph, but it's not like it's spiked at all, right? It's held steady, which is the best you can hope for as a losing team. Yes, it's still good news for PSG because they do have great scaling in the Tryndamere and the Philios, but at the same time, for these LCK-esque style teams, this is exactly where they want to be anyways.
That definitely is true. I do want to point out an interesting buy here from Unified. I don't see this every day, but that's a second item Bloodthirster. What do you make of this?
I mean, it's really to deal with a lot of the poke that can come out here. If he doesn't go for this purchase, you might just see Blaze throw down an ultimate and Quiet throw down an ultimate, and if he gets chunked down to 40% HP, it becomes very difficult for him to then participate in the following team fights, as that does put him at risk to get blown up by the Syndra. So I like this purchase. We've been seeing it a little bit more often from these carries that used to go shield bow first, but now just go BT second to replace that.
Yeah, definitely makes sense in the grand scheme of things. Once again, PSG are going to take an uncontested objective. Impunity are shifting over, but they still do not have wards around this Baron pit. They are going to have to check sooner or later here, and we do have to mention PSG have a lot of tools to just catch them out. Nautilus is great engage, and also that Realm Warp could be very deadly. Let's see what happens here as Juhan tries to ward them away, and question really becomes at some point, who is going to contest Nabi? It just can't be Quiet by himself anymore.
Yeah, and the issue for Quiet isn't that, well, I can clear the waves. It's just the fact that even if I'm here, Hanabi has teleport. I have Ignite. That's not going to help me get to the fights faster to bail out my team if they call for a teleport play. That's why he's just actively running around the map non-stop. And they have decent stall tools still over on the side of Impunity. You have a Syndra, you have a Ziggs. This is probably Ziggs' sweet spot. So until Impunity get baited into one of these objective fights, they will be able to sort of hold serve to a degree.
Ooh, that is going to be a two-man Baron started up by PSG, still feigning with Aphelios in the mid. Yeah, didn't seem like a very good idea as we see Bay pulling off of the Baron almost immediately. No, they get the catch! That is absolutely beautiful.
Do they have damage?
Now stuck in the enemy team.
Okay.
Of course they have the damage. It's a 1v4.
There we go.
No,
I mean,
no amount
if
of
he traded 1v1
that.
there, that could have been possible. Yeah. So I honestly, Blaze was kind of getting low where the Gale Force execute might have made that really, really tight. But Unified getting caught out is huge for Impunity because now the side of PSG, they can't just rush for a Baron. You just saw right there. Bay on Baron with this build does negative damage to Baron. I hate this build.
Alright, what build would you rather see?
Oh man, like honestly, you can just go for Everfrost into just a lot more damage. You can turn this tier into the Archangels. Yes, Thimblewinter just feels so good because you get so much value, but Archangels also gives you health. And not only does it give you health from its ability, it also gives you damage. Like, it just gives you just more damage. Or Demonic Embrace. Because you're building... because you're building Thimblewinter, you get more health, and it gives you that extra little bit of scaling from the Demonic.
Okay, maybe one day we will see a turn back to a more damage-oriented machine gun mage, but I also want to make the case for Thimblewinter. It's, you know, you get a 360 shield every 8 seconds in combat.
Does make you tanky.
It really is pretty broken. It really is pretty damn strong, and you know, we really have seen a shift of Rise. This Thimblewinter Rise, pretty damn low win rate across the board in the major regions. You have a point right there. That, like, reality check definitely goes towards you. But, you know, stats-wise and value-wise, it's kind of hard to argue, and I see why a lot of people are still sticking towards this. PSG, after hurting Impunity out of their own jungle, are finally going to turn back towards the objective, and they're taking it very fast this time around. Impunity just have no answer. I'm kind of surprised they went for a synchronized back. Yeah, that was a 4-member back.
I think they saw the objective timer in the Dragon, knowing that it was a minute away, and they wanted to try and get a group recall to try and set up for that Dragon play. Unfortunately, they kind of left Baron very, very exposed, and with red-white, that is a champion that does do damage to Philios. While Bay on this Rise doesn't do a whole lot, the Philios is. So now, here's the setup. Blaze is caught out.
Here comes the Realm. More Blaze is caught. Nowhere for him to go. He could flash over the wall, but that's not going to save him. And a very easy follow-up by PSG. PSG are just getting everything pretty much uncontested this game. It just looks so smooth and so easy. Impunity, you know, not going for a staggered recall, going for a synchronized recall, gave so much of the map to PSG, and even when you were talking about that Drake setup, you know, I still feel like PSG came into the objective so much more composed. Now they're knocking on the base. We're going to have to see another huge play from Taco to bring this one back, but he misses the Sonic Wave. Faith goes down into stasis and has to flash out. No one really to defend this cannon minion. No one has the range to walk up to this one, so it's just going to wail away on the tower as Hanabi goes on to another objective here. Oh,
double cannon
just
with
the tower
Hullbreaker.
gone already.
These cannon minions hit hard, even with the extra wave clear from a Ziggs. It's going to be so hard to deal with these super minions, right? So PSG, they really get to dictate how they want to win the game. Do they continue to play reserved, or they just try and pull the trigger right there? It does look like they will play things slow. Hanabi will get a lot of attention pulled to him, but the rest of his team headed over to that Dragon. It is not Soul, so Impunity can afford to give it up without dire consequences, but it's still not a good look.
I like how Taco just eyeballs Hanabi and thinks to himself, nah, I can't kill him.
Yeah.
He's just not gonna die.
This Lee Sin has not panned out this game whatsoever. 0, 1, and 2. Not quite the impact. But only 8 kills in this entire game that's about to be 29 minutes. So it's been a very slow game in general. And I think this is the style that you're going to see more often than not from PSG games going forward.
Yeah, it's such an abrupt departure from what we are used to, but hey, if PSG can turn into a team fighting powerhouse for our region, then I think that's somewhat welcome. You know, our last year, our representatives in Beyond Gaming and PSG with Maple and River, they frankly were not very good team fighting teams. They were not 5v5 oriented whatsoever. And, you know, this could be a fresh of breath air, a breath of fresh air, excuse me.
Fresher breath, I do enjoy that.
Yeah, I admit, sometimes I get my breaths all confused up. But on the flip side, I think Impunity really, I think it was a novel idea, but they didn't really pilot this composition that well. Yeah. I felt like they could have gone a lot more aggressive with Lee Sin and Syndra. These two picks have been way too quiet this game. And they also just needed to hard force those cross-map trades instead of just backing out.
Yeah, they needed to be a lot more aggressive with their macro play, especially when you have a Shen, right? Like, you drafted Shen to give you ways to cheat macro, and every single time they got cheated on, and they just have not had answers.
Kaiwing goes in for the engage. Another stasis has to be popped by Faith here, but Unified has been left taking the tower. They do take down the Aphelios. That's a large chunk of damage gone. Quiet is still alive. Maybe they can turn this one around. Hanabi will not go down to the collateral damage. Stays alive with the last tick. And Taco, oh, he's trying to do so much with so little, and PSG punish him for that. It's going to be 3 members down from Impunity. PSG are going straight for the base at this point. Not a lot of damage, and Quiet can't find the auto attacks over the minions here. Quiet is going to go down. Hanabi with the teleport back in. Quiet does find the kill onto Juhan. Can Kralix find another? No, Bay will take him down rather easily. Flash Wolves emotes being popped right here. And to end off week 1, PSG want to make sure they stay above 500 with this win. The GGs are flashed.